Okay, so basically, on my main Instagram I have a few selfies. I'm relatively attractive, I'd say, but nothing special. I go to a lot of concerts, and I post all my pictures on Instagram, since I'm usually really close to the stage, and it's just fun. Most of my account is pictures from my Fall Out Boy concerts. I've been to a few. So here's where this story starts. Dudes add me on Snapchat and try the typical "hey baby girl what's your Insta" or "hey BB why can I get nudes" or whatever typical bullcrap they text in search of naked pictures. Usually I'll block them immediately. Sometimes I have fun. Today, just about 10 minutes ago, I committed the best thing I could. This guy texted me asking if I had any pussy. I answered obviously, but the chances of you seeing it are about 5%. He does some more begging, and I said maybe make a Fall Out Boy joke. Has super confused. Like UHH the band rap like duh. What other Fall Out Boy from Chicago? So he sends me the very original how to make emo cake. Eggs, butter, flour, sugar, we're going down. Joke. I'm not impressed. It's mediocre at best. So then I'm like, hey, it's kinda crafty, with the gif of Patrick saying it's kinda crafty. He gets a little aggressive, and I ask, okay, do you know who Pete Wentz is? He tells me no, and I said, if he looks him up maybe he'll get nudes. He goes away for a few minutes and come back, and says as an American singer-songwriter I kinda just go on, tell me more to prove that he sends back an obvious copy and paste. I say that's enough, and I said, okay, here's your pics. I sent in Pete Wentz's dick pics with the caption, he has a better dick than you tbh. He sent me dick pics prior to this. Not Wentz, this guy. Should I mention this dude got super pissed. Then he goes, wait, how? Do you have those? And I go, what, do I look like a fin snitch? He turns around and goes, okay, show me her pussy though. That was a very easy block after that. Hey Reddit, I've been a reading only kind of person for a while now, but I decided to use this very recent story to post. I'm a sophomore in high school and I live in Miami, Florida. I attend this charter prep school, high and middle, where it's mandatory to take at least 2 years of a foreign language. I, being Hispanic, chose to take Spanish in my freshman year, to get it over with. I'm currently taking my second year of Spanish and obviously, it's a little harder this year. About 98% of my school is Hispanic, so the majority of the students take Spanish for 2 years to get their credits. There's a guy who we'll call Chris. I've known Chris since the 6th grade and I've never thought of him as anything other than an acquaintance. As in my Spanish class this year, my teacher assigned us a group project a few weeks ago to make a script about a specific company, which the teacher chose. My group got AT&T. My group consisted of a guy I met this year, we'll call him Alex, my friend, we'll call her Sammy, Chris, and someone who was a friend of Chris and Alex's, we'll call him Ricky. We had about 2 weeks to come up with a simple script, more than enough time. What happened was that we all have our numbers to Chris, and he created the group chat the night before the project was due. We only had time to come up with the approach to the script before people stopped answering. Not wanting to get an F, I stood up late and wrote the entire script myself. My teacher loved it, and my group got an A. Chris has been joking about me doing all the work since then. He'd say things like, I worked harder than you did, and you're doing the next project too, right? It bothered me, but I decided to keep quiet. My Spanish teacher assigned us another project. This time, we had to make a script that related to a quote she showed us a few classes ago. In Spanish, el conocimiento es la clave de la vida independiente, la clave de todos los sueños, todas las esperanzas y todas las aspirations. Si es instruido especialmente miliseconds instruido close dems en realidad determinada tevuelves valias o impones tas propia conditions. In English, knowledge is the key to independent life, the key to all dreams, all hopes and all aspirations. If you are instructed, especially more educated than others in a given area, you become valuable and impose your own conditions. Chris said that this time, he would write the script alone, because he felt bad about the last project. The night before the project is due, he texts the same group chat and says, yo, I just realized the script is due to MMR, so I'm just going to make a story about a guy and how he was successful related to the quote. Good idea, or does anyone have a better one? He sent this at 8:08 PM, and I was annoyed. The rest of us say we're okay with the approach and ask him to print multiple copies. This is when he tells us that he doesn't actually have a printer. Once again, him trying not to get an F. So I offer to print 4 scripts once Chris sends it to me. After I say this, Chris says, "Can someone just finish off the story? Hello." I offer to, assuming it can't be that much, and Chris sends me what he has of the script. He had 5 lines written. I become enraged. I'm about to go off on the group chat, but I decide to do something better. I rewrite the entire script. His 5 lines were terrible. Instead of writing realistically, I write like Shakespeare and have the main character monologue for most of the skit. I create 4 characters, 2 friends, me and Alex, the narrator, Ricky, and the main character, Chris. Side note, there was a maximum of 4 people, so Sammy wasn't in our group this time, while Alex, Ricky, and I have 6 lines in total. Chris, who can barely read in Spanish, gets the rest of the script. This includes multiple conversations, monologues, and speeches. Day of the presentation comes, and I hand everyone their script. Chris stares at me and asks me why I gave him so many lines. I just tell him as the main character, and that's how it ended up. My group gets called up, and most of the presentation consisted of stuttering, pauses, and mispronunciations on Chris' part. He gets called out by the teacher, who asked him why he was struggling so much to read in Spanish. He simply said it was hard for him. Because of this, Chris got mandatory tutoring until he could read and write like a native speaker, because we're taking Spanish too and should be on that level by now. I hope he stays in tutoring until the end of the year. It's what he deserves after trying to take advantage of me. So I was at school one day. There was this boy, let's name him Marcus. So he was not the typical bully. He was short and not very masculine, but he bullied mentally. Context: my second name is Kutsi. It's Turkish, so most people can say it at the first try, but I forgive them. But Marcus SE just did it on and on. Marcus had been mentally bullying me for the last 4 weeks. One day I saw red, but he always ran away, so I waited and charged at him like a football tackle, shoulder first. I had him, but that wasn't enough, so I bashed his head on the blackboard and that gave him a concussion. So you may think that I got punished, but no. Why, you ask? Is that the school counselors knew that he tormented me for 4 weeks and they defended me against the principal and Marcus's parents. They sued my family, but when my lawyer, also my cousin, showed them the documents that the counselors took and my texts with her, in the end I won the lawsuit and won $200K from it. I want to start with an apology if I'm not getting it right. I'm a total noob here. What I'm about to share has weighed heavily on my soul for many years. By nature, I'm not a violent or vindictive person, and I think my guilt has been my own undoing. Almost 30 years ago, I was the night manager at the local hotel strip bar. Being an average looking female was a struggle to prove myself in a man's world. The regular patrons resented me because they felt they had to curb their lewd banter lest I get all uptight, and the senior staff resented me for being promoted above them. Eventually, I earned respect from everyone, at least I thought I had. One night after closing time, I invited the staff to stay and celebrate the awesome job they did. Drinks on the house. We were having a blast, shooting pool, getting wasted, and a bit more raunchy with every drink. As I bend over to take my next shot, I feel a stick poke between my butt cheeks. Even though I was majorly sensitive and self-conscious of my huge ass, the mood in the group made it feel as a real flirtation and not ridiculing me. When the bouncer suddenly stepped back and apologized, likely realizing he crossed the line with the boss, I daringly made a comment that I didn't hear me complain or something along those lines. So no, my staff knew I liked anal sex. Plain Jane, me was eating it up. More booze, more flirting. I don't remember even locking up and leaving, and that has never happened before or since. Semicolon. Next thing I know, I'm screaming in fear, panic, pain. I'm handcuffed face down, spread-eagled and blindfolded, and apparently alone. I don't know how much time passed, but I was all too aware that, judging by the searing pain below the waist, the wet sticky mess I lay in had to be my blood. This was confirmed when the door to wherever I was burst open with the shouts of the police. I was in a sleazy motel room and would find out later that 3 of my staff decided to slip me the date rape drug and give me what I wanted. I to this day cannot understand the logic of giving the boss a roofie and brutally gang raping me for something I would have likely been a willing participant judging by my drunken behavior. To be continued. Sorry, I just have to go take care of something for a bit. Semicolon. So now I had to decide how to handle it. And because I loved my job and worked hard to be accepted and respected, I took the coward's option and decided to pretend it never even happened. Another factor was the one guy that was the party planner, if you will, was the adopted ethnic son of a very wealthy, powerful public person. And I was a single mom on the wrong side of the tracks. Pretty obvious that my best chance of putting it behind me was to just leave it alone. Convince myself that what happened was fun and games that got out of hand. That the guys panicked and took off. But then the post started spreading rumors that I was trying to cover the fact that I was a white trash slut by going to the cops and trying to say he raped me. I thought to myself, WTF is wrong with him? I didn't say a word to anyone, not even my friends or family. I almost lost my job because I could not explain why I disappeared for a week without so much as a phone call. I couldn't think straight to come up with a believable story when I was in hospital heavily sedated following the emergency surgery. Then he took it too far. He purposely would put himself in my path and taunt and threaten me. I couldn't deal with it for one more second. I snapped, complete and total meltdown. I started screaming, the bar is closed, everybody get the F out now. The DJ hops on the mic and laughingly asks if any of the ladies in the house have some middle. A few nervous chuckles from the crowd and I fly across the stage and into the DJ booth. Grabbing the mic, in a strangely calm voice I suggest that everyone should seriously get up and leave right now unless they want to hang around to give witness reports to the cops and possibly get caught in the crossfire. And to give them a few minutes, I was going to go back behind the bar and start smashing glasses to focus my rage, and that when I had nothing left to break, anyone remaining was fair game. By this time, word had gotten to the GM and thankfully he took me out of the bar and told me I could go to his office and calm down while he dealt with the situation I caused. When he returned, he handed me a bottle of JD and sat behind his desk without saying a word. After a while he asked if I was feeling okay or did I want him to call 911. I can't remember what I said, if I even said anything at all. He asked if my outburst had anything to do with the nasty rumors going around involving 3 certain staff members. I couldn't stop myself from finally letting it out. Sorry, I have to stop and take a few breaths before continuing. Thank you for watching. Slap that like button and comment your opinion on these stories below. I'm waiting. Write that comment. Seriously. Have you written it yet? If you don't comment, you make a bunny cry somewhere. You're not that kind of person. I know. Anyways, peace out and catch you tomorrow.